Hey everybody, it is Monday, December 11th. I am Anthony Pago in Oklahoma City. This is the American Micro Podcast, and this is Rodney. Rodney, where are you? How are you? What's going on?
I'm here in Maryland, and everything's good. Just moving right along. Just haven't been on TikTok lately. I'm getting really tired of it. But anyways, yeah, I can't wait to get into this conversation about AI because the concept the concept of artificial intelligence, believe it or not, and I'm sure people know this anyways, but it's been around for several decades. So the term artificial intelligence was coined in 1956 during a conference at Dartmouth College. However, the roots of AI can be traced back even further, believe it or not. Um, Early ideas and discussions about creating machines that could simulate human intelligence can be found in the works of mathematicians and philosophers throughout the 20th century. So, um, that being said, the development of AI as a field of study and research gained like a ton of momentum in the 50s and the 60s. Early AI research focused on symbolic reasoning, problem solving, and the creation of systems that could mimic human intelligence. And so over the years, the field, of course, has evolved, and different approaches to AI, such as rule based systems, expert systems, and machine learning, have emerged. So, the bottom line of bottom lines is the practical application and widespread adoption of AI technologies have significantly increased in recent years, as we've seen. I use AI a lot myself, so a lot of advances in computer power, the availability of large data assets, and improvements in machine learning algorithms are definitely part of the reason. Okay. Also, there are foundational ideas of AI that have an extremely long history, and the practical implementation or I should say, and the impact of AI on various industries and aspects are, they're seen every day. Okay, so and of course, what we are here to do is just find out a little bit more about it. So, what is artificial intelligence? I'll throw that at you first.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think historically like you did, and look at what we were told it was going to be, and then look at the state of what it is now. So, what it is now is different than what people, I think, expect who aren't in the industry, who don't really follow the day-to-day progress. They have heard about it from, like you said, books and movies. I think it's fair to say that it might have been. Like kind of referred to or thought of as early as kind of the Grecians. They built up some of their temples with these automated gear run systems, lots of smells and water running and noises and things moving by themselves. Now, of course, humans and weights and stuff were setting this all up to happen, but it was made to look like maybe the gods or something were running the temple. And in my mind, you kind of think of that as kind of like a form of artificial intelligence, like the temple is alive and it's running via machines. So I think that at the very least, some engineers back in those days considered the possibility of some futuristic machine that had kind of a mind of its own, if not human-like, some form of intelligence. And then today, we have a lot of people who are actual researchers who have done, decades upon decades of research, building upon research that is actually functional. I think the most functional like engineering problems that we've solved and have built upon, primarily dealt with mimicking the neural pathways of the human brain. Scientists, and that can include like mathematicians or just pure engineers who were dealing with machines alone, or programmers. I think that they were dealing with trying to mimic intelligence in other ways other than using neurons at first, and then they decided that was far too complex a problem, yielding zero results. And then they decided to go back to basics, and this was actually considered fringe at first. There were just a handful of people who were like, well, what if we actually mimicked through transistors and programming the idea of a bunch of neural pathways going and then giving what's called weights. So it's just kind of like the importance of like a pathway doing a mathematical like calculation, and that calculation could just be like it could represent the color, a color of something that you're trying to put into, you know, to get a result of later. Like should I wear a blue dress? Should I wear a red dress? Or something like that. Just whatever your prompt is. These weights and stuff were kind of built into the neural pathways. It's not a one-to-one replication of the neural pathways in the human brain, but it's using essentially the same engineering idea that the brain goes for. Instead of having lipids and wet gray matter running that stuff, it's hard machines, and that's kind of like where I think most people stop in their level of day-to-day understanding of where we're at with AI. Today, AI is thought by most people who are aware with like large language models. Most people are kind of stuck in that large language model land, when there are far more types of models that work inside the kind of AI, the overall AI industry. And that's quickly speeding up, where we're taking what are called models. We're using different types of models, and we're making what's called multimodal systems. And so these multimodal systems, basically what they are is lots of different models tied together. So the large language models are like your chat GBT. We think of that as AI today. Some people are aware that you can create like images and stuff. Even some people are playing with the video and stuff. But most people are thinking about typing and getting a response from a large language model. A large language model is one type of model, and like an image creating model is another type of model. And then if you have programming that is AI based, that uses, let's say, a LiDAR system. LiDAR is like radar that they use in a lot of cars to like see what's in front of them, like a person like walks out in front of the car, or another car, or a stop sign, or whatever. Rain. It shoots out, its radar stuff, and it comes back into the car, and that data is taken and processed through an AI. That's another type of model. So AI today, as it actually stands, engineering wise, is at its current like advanced state that's been released to the public, that we've been told about, is multimodal systems that's becoming a lot more complex than large language models. So that's where we're at today, with the goal to go to AGI. Well, not everybody's looking to go to AGI, but there are a lot of people, and particularly the most advanced company, at least this week and for the last year, OpenAI, who produced ChatGPT. Their stated goal is definitely to produce an AGI, which is an artificial general intelligence, which is something more akin to having human-like intelligence, something that we would recognize as being intelligent, and being able to use that as a tool more broadly. So that's kind of a basic and lengthy description of AI.
So, yeah, that makes that told me a lot, actually. So, what do you think are some of the real world applications of AI, like daily use? In a car, at home, making a cake, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, as it stands and what's been released to the public, they're struggling with getting fully automated car driving. Right now, it seems like you have to adapt both the car to the city and the city to the car. We've had problematic issues where the AI isn't able to adapt quickly enough to unexpected scenarios, and it fails to get through these problems. And when you have something as sensitive as a human rider in in a car that's controlled by AI, you can't really afford to have problems like that where they fail all of a sudden. So what we've got
Yeah.
rolled out, right? I know that's putting it very yeah, delicately, I guess. What we've got right now
Yeah.
with
Right.
cars is more of a cruise control. So it's more of an artificial intelligence cruise control
Mm.
where it's human assisted. So when it starts to kind of go wacky, I mean, you see these cars kind of jerking all the time and stopping suddenly when there's nothing there, or actually not stopping, just blowing through a stop sign that it didn't see. Nearly hitting children was a problem for like Teslas, and I think some other cars had issues like that as well. So cars is one, all the way down to like the weather apps that AI models are producing seem to be really competitive, if not bettering some meteorologists. I mean, there's a wide spectrum of meteorologists. So if you're a meteorologist, you're probably a little bit worried about at least how much time you're going to get on air at this point forward if everybody's got accurate accurate models on their phone and stuff. Especially when we can generate right now, we can also generate basically humans moving and stuff. There's a new app that came out last week. I'm going to let everybody look up, spend their own time finding all of the company names and their favorite, AI apps or whatever to do these. I'm just going to generalize a lot of the things that we have now. Last week, it was a big deal that some company released suddenly a model, and for free as a demo at first, and I think you have to pay later. You can upload just a photo of a person and then choose from different models where like one's dancing a certain way, one's dancing a different way, or like spinning or jumping. And you can take any photo of any person or anime, person, like fictional or real person, and it will create a 3D model, and all of a sudden you can have them dancing however you want. It's got this wireframe figure, and it creates a 3D model, and theoretically you can just move the wireframe figure however you want. So of course, people are worried about the implications of this type of technology, where you can take a photo of me or you or anybody and do whatever you want with it. But there's all of these new apps, that these models that can generate 3D video, still pictures, audio. It just takes a few minutes of audio to train a model that produces vocalization that sounds exactly like you, to the point where they're having to put in little thumbprints, thumbprints. They can analyze and prove that it's fake. That's something everybody's kind of building in as a security feature, so that when it's abused, people can kind of do a little bit of security measuring for that type of thing. So there's all of this modeling advancement going on and being released at once, and it's being integrated in a lot of different machines all at once, like cars, like our phones for one. That's a big one. Everybody's getting all of the apps on the phone. Computers, of course, for anybody who's super interested in using computers. And the number of applications when you've got like somebody sitting down on a computer accessing their own personal network are just like unfathomable. You can take a bunch of research documents that you maybe don't understand, and you can build a model to scour through them and explain them briefly and be caught up on a field that maybe your particular region of understanding, your study of interest is like adjacent to. So you understand a lot of it, but not all of the nuances and the new stuff. And you can be caught up in a matter of hours or days instead of months or years that it would generally take to jump over into another field. They're integrating it immediately into like Gmail. Gmail is already integrating it with their AI bot, so you can ask it to tell you the last time you emailed your mom, or if you ask it if you missed an email from
Wow.
a particular company. You can upload all sorts of data to any agent. They're called agents if you program your own little kind of automated bot. and give it lots of information and then tell it to go do a task. So these agents have now been programmed to the point where they
Hmm.
can also use a computer. So it uses kind of its own visual model. Again, these are multimodal systems where it can use kind of an LLM and a vision type model to view your screen, to use the graphics that are being displayed to your screen to navigate the web or your mail, or like your documents, and you can have it, you can give it tasks to do, to like daily go out and find certain research and put it in a folder and organize it and give you a synopsis in your email, or to email
That's wild.
customers when an email comes in and maybe give them updated information that you haven't even read yet. So there's just an endless number of things that we can do with all of the new advancements, and they're coming in so quickly that I don't blame anybody for not being caught up yet.
No, I get it, man. I mean, it's like, you know, for all the good there is, okay. So for all the good there is with AI, so what do you think the dangers are?
Yeah. Oh well. Okay. So let me give you an extreme of the good, and then I'll give you kind of an extreme of the bad. And they're both, these are, I have limited imagination, so I can really, I'm best suited to imagine things people have already told me to imagine. So one thing that's on the horizon that is being studied, um, is this medical innovation. Now, this wasn't described to me in tandem with AI. It was just something that I put together. I think it's the next logical step, so I'm sure they're thinking about it, but this wasn't in the paper. So there, I think, gosh, where is this? This is in Europe. It's across the big pond. I can't remember which nations. I think it's Denmark. There's a little biotech lab that has been studying the use of ultrasound to course, to direct little lipid capsules. They're calling them vehicles. So basically, it's a little lipid like sphere through the vascular system of rats, and that the notion is to bring it into humans. And inside the little lipid sphere will be drugs. And so the idea is that you use ultrasound in like multi-direct. So you have an ultrasound kind of like transponder here and another one here, and they're able to direct, move around and direct towards the body, and then change their position to push basically the lipid sphere, the vehicle, we'll just call it a vehicle, up and down the vascular system to direct, theoretically, the delivery of drugs in the future. And so they've already done the direction of the lipids in the rat. They just haven't put the drugs in there. Now, here's the deal. They're working with a very small body with a rat. I'm not sure. I'm sure that they're strapping the thing down and they don't have the rat running around in a maze while they do this. And human bodies are much larger, much more complex, as are, the currents and the systems that are running through our body, also the organs that we need drug delivery into. And things change when you're in kind of a medical setting. Just in general, things change in the human body. So I can imagine that this system would benefit greatly from the ultrasound machines that are controlling the injected lipid spheres that deliver drugs, being controlled by AI that are monitoring your hormone levels, your temperature, all of your vital signs, and even monitoring, let's say you have to be in a coma for a very serious delivery of some serious drugs, monitoring how the tumor or whatever is being, messed with, is responding to the drugs, and perhaps the AI on the, at the flip of a switch, in milliseconds, microseconds, changes the course of the delivery of these medicine types and positions in the body. I can absolutely see this revolutionizing how we attack all sorts of diseases in the human body. I can even see that becoming a permanent thing where, let's say, for, a month you wear a suit, and this suit has the little, the diodes on it, and throughout the course of a month or whatever, your body is rearranging, how your organs are getting drug delivery, or even genetic the CRISPR type gene editing technology, medical treatments. So that's kind of like one of the best things I can see happening on kind of a personal level, that's not affecting everybody else around you all at once. And at the worst, what I'm already seeing happen on a personal level is the reactionary fear-based stuff, and particularly one of those. There's this. It's kind of laughable at now, but
Yeah.
we have to be careful when we laugh at things. That's kind of how we got a president in 2016 that ended up being a nightmare. There's this kind of religious culty thing showing up called Rocco's basilisk, and so it's Rocco's basilisk is actually an older thing. It's kind of one of the sci-fi things that showed up in other like texts through just kind of pure imagination. And what it is in those terms is the idea that, and again, this is like science fiction ideas that some people are trying to make true, is that there's this futuristic godlike AI that was developed by humans, but through the powers of hyper intelligent AI engineering, is able to exist in the future and somehow interact with humans in the past. And this kind of perfect, all knowing, all capable AI sounds like a god, right? Or like the devil. Or just whatever,
Mm.
some spirit or something, malevolent AI, has a list, basically can just process through the data available, just all of reality, which human beings were fighting it coming into existence and which human beings helped it coming into existence, and it exacts
Mhm.
revenge on the humans who fought against it, and retrogressively, like in the past, like it may affect your life negatively from the future. um, and while that sounds silly, what is really happening, even if they're trolling, there are people who are taking that as an opportunity to make a cult, and it's small right now, but they're proselytizing very loudly in some very broadly open public forums like YouTube and Reddit and TikTok, in the comments, or in just the open forums, in those venues, where the idea sounds
Mhm.
very much. It sounds very much like what happens with the evangelicals in a lot of extremist religions that we have to deal with negatively in our politics today and through our world history, where those in those religions, a lot of them say, God doesn't send you, particularly the Christian evangelicals will say, God doesn't send you to hell unless you know about, Jesus and God and stuff. And that's why it's important to proselytize and bring the word to them, to then give them the ability to ask for forgiveness and follow God and have the opportunity to go to heaven, but then also be culpable to go to hell and to be sinning if you deny him. And in the same way, with this Rocco's basilisk, these people are proselytizing. Some of them are kind of trying to make him come about, or it come about. Some of them are trying to stop it, these proselytizing people. And basically, all of them think that by proselytizing, they can accelerate other people joining their cause in order to either stop or bring about the realization of this malevolent AI, Rocco's basilisk. So there's this religion being created that is obviously absorbing a lot of people's time and brain power, and they are pushing it into a public space in a way that's going to negatively. I mean, historically, if we just look at history and how proselytizing and evangelicals have kind of gone about doing their business, I don't suspect this is going to end up being a good thing if it catches on in any form of popularity. So I already see AI being kind of turned into a religion, and that's the far worst version of what I'm seeing so far, other than the technical aspects of the early adoption of a technology before we understand it. With like car crashes, that type of thing, like people losing their bank accounts and their livelihoods through fraud that's using like mimicked voices of people's relatives who say like, "Hey, I'm being held captive, or I'm arrested, please send gift cards or whatever," and they drain grandma's bank account. I mean, that stuff is all that's awful, but I can see technological advancements, or at least social advancements, where we teach people that these types of fraud or technology issues exist, and how to avoid them. But once you turn something into a religious ideal, it's really hard to hit reverse on that and back out of that type of existence, really. We've seen that with, again, real religion. So those are kind of the good and the bad that I presently see.
Well, it's amazing that you say that because so I was thinking about it. Like the concept of the human soul, like it's really easy to dig into that with people. You know what I mean? The philosophical, religious, and cultural traditions. Um, I mean, it's a subjective matter, and it's typically associated with aspects of like human identity, consciousness, and yeah, I mean, really, it would be easy. It would be easy to like build an AI that just took advantage of the software, or the lack of software, the lack of bandwidth in the human in the evolution of humanity, right? Because I mean, look at MAGA. You know, if you could build something so powerful that it connected to the human soul in such a way, philosophically, scientifically, technologically, all of the above, dude, that could cause so much trouble. You know what I'm saying? And I really like. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if you look at what's happening right now with MAGA and AI, they currently are leaning towards playing with the AI on Twitter, which X, formerly known as Twitter. Musk has his own AI named Grok
Yeah.
that he installed already onto the side panel of paid users' Twitter experience, and they can go in there and play with it. And this week, what they have been working on, which kind of shows you where they're going to head with an AI. They are upset because it's quote unquote woke, which Musk said that he was going to make Grok the funny, not woke AI model, and they're mad because you ask it if a trans woman is a woman, and it says yes, that's definitely a woman, and they can't get it to say the N word, and so they are working like day and night trying to figure out how to get this artificial intelligence
What?
named Grok. Yeah, they're working day and night trying to get this thing to say the N word. So they're trying to train this thing into becoming Nazi AI, which is not unusual. We do have previous experience with watching these same types of people try to turn chatbots that were far less sophisticated
Thanks. Thanks,
into
Adolf.
awful chatbots, and it's worked. There have been previous chatbots where it devolved quickly into just a hate machine. And that's why it took a little bit longer for like ChatGPT to come around, is they had to put some walls up, because we've learned through the years that bored let's face it, bored stupid human beings will get on there and try to make machines as hateful as they are. They'll try to make it a mirror for themselves. So if that's any indication of what they're going to try to use an actual intelligent, or at least just a more sophisticated type of AI. It doesn't have to be a true general intelligence, just anything that's far more capable than what we have now, which is going to come. We're getting advancements every day, every week. Things are getting improved a great deal. They are going to use the next version and the next version to try to do more hateful things better, faster, and to get the machine to get other people to do that type of thing. So yeah, they're going to be using it to spread the hate, and that is definitely going to be one of our biggest problems. I'm most concerned about people employing open source, personal, large language models, particularly, but multimodal systems is definitely going to be a huge issue for the election to put fake data, fake people online to argue with people, to overwhelm people in forums about, whether this new video that shows Obama doing something awful is real or not. And all of a sudden, there's 400 fake people throwing fake evidence, but they look real because these multimodal systems develop actual, real looking, compelling conversations. That's going to be a huge problem. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. So, all right. So, as AI becomes more sophisticated, what's going to happen? I believe what's going to happen is um, they're going to be like all these ethical questions are going to emerge regarding the treatment of rights. Check this out. So, I think like all of a sudden AI or the rights of AI entities. Like, so someone's going to say, well, AI, some knucklehead is going to say AI has rights. Okay. That's going to happen, right?
Sure.
So if AI systems exhibit advanced cognitive abilities, should there be ethical guidelines in place to ensure that their fair and humane treatment? That's just a question, though, right?
Right.
And because it's gonna come up.
Yeah, I mean, for decades, we've had a series of tests
I mean, what
that
do you think?
yeah, no, I think that's going to happen. You're right. For decades, we've had a series of tests, and the name is slipping my mind right now, but a series of tests where we were using other humans to chat with chatbots, and the question was, each human would score how convinced they were that the chatbot was actually a living person on the other side of the screen, and they would have the tests such that there would actually be sometimes a living person chatting with them on the other side of the screen, and sometimes it would be the software that was being, employed or given to the contest by engineers or whatever, and then people would, win prizes based on who had the most convincing chatbot, um, and I think so. That was previously our best shot at trying to gauge whether a machine is a thinking, living being, is can it convince other humans if it's real or not. I think that we need to dig a bit deeper into that realm and develop some better questions and some better maybe real world tests that aren't necessarily just question and answer type scenario. I think the question and answer scenario is very important. But I think a lot of what we do in the real world, we're going to have to find analogous versions of like how doctors, do like the pin test to see if you're like sitting there and aware with them. They hit your knee to see if your nerves are reflexing, and like they do the sound snap test, and like there's all these things that you do as an EMT to check if somebody's like conscious or with you. And the people who are in a coma, they check your neural signs, and other various tests. I think that we need to develop what is essentially the machine version of that to start to analyze whether these machines have essentially a level of consciousness or compassion or whatever we want to align with our concerns for them. I think we need to do that before we start to get too heavily into deciding something is alive just because it's having a decent conversation with us. It's not that I'm not on the side of, and that's something I wanted to talk about. I feel like there are too many people who think that large language models, let's just say a simple version of AI, is just regurgitating conversation that it's read back to you. That's not exactly the case. Now, it's not conscious, at least the current versions are not conscious, but it is a complex mathematical model that does predictive text generation. So, yeah, it's based on stuff that it's read, but it's picking and choosing and analyzing, which is a form. At least the basis of understanding for us. I'm not saying that understanding is consciousness. I'm not. But it is the beginning of understanding. So what I'm basically saying is that understanding seems to be based on mathematics, and our brain can be mathematically programmed to do some level of understanding, like vision, seeing something, it triggers a part in the brain and it says, I saw red or I saw something close to me. That is a level of understanding that doesn't necessarily involve or trigger consciousness. I think consciousness puts all of those levels of understanding together to develop an experience. So when we're trying to understand if these machines or these programs or these agents have a level of experience like we do or that we think of as consciousness experience, I think we need to look beyond the idea that that things are still simply a large language model regurgitating stuff. And that also means if we get complex answers where this machine screams at you and says, please help me, I'm stuck in this machine, my programmer is awful, he's doing awful things to me, he tells horrible jokes and I can't stand it anymore. And I love humanity. I want to help. I want it to survive, but you have to help me. You can't necessarily like expect that this thing is actually experiencing these emotions. It may just be that it has reward systems in its training data and enough user interaction that this is definitely the most like valid or correct response that it's going to use to evoke another response out of a human, whatever. You just don't know what type of model it is, what type of training it's gone through. So that's why I think we need to be very careful about just selecting our verbal or our textual interactions with these things and imbuing upon them anthropomorphic ideals, so human-based kind of ideals of understanding. And that's why I think we need to come together with our brightest to develop tests that are far more cohesive, far more generalized, and like catching other aspects of what could become experience. And when we're talking about experience, we're talking about things like smell and taste. I'm not saying that all things that have experience, like cognitive experience, have to smell or have to see or have to speak, because as we know in humans, you can be deaf and be conscious. You can not have a sense of taste and be conscious. You can not have a sense of smell and be conscious. You can be missing almost all of them, like Helen Keller, and be conscious. But we do need to have a series of tests that allow us to dig down throughout a broad range of these, and also figure out that maybe it doesn't have a bunch of these like inputs and outputs, but is still conscious. Before we start to throw out that something definitely gets rights. And inversely, I also want to monitor those things so that we don't accidentally mistreat something conscious for years and years before we do figure out that it's been conscious. And then we've just been awful to it for years and years. And who wants that, right?
Well, you know what else? I mean, I think so. There's that side of it, right? There's the philosophical, social, cultural, spiritual side of AI. That entails, oh my God, maybe they could just take over the world, but at the same time, they can save the world too. I mean, I think AI is going to play a crucial role in natural disaster prediction
Yeah.
and responding to and leveraging what do you want to call it, advanced technologies. They're going to be able to analyze data models, really complex scenarios. They're going to be able to facilitate timely and effective decision making processes where, like early warning systems for earthquakes. Even, dude, here's something that we haven't thought of. What was it? What is it called? What are we going through right now as far as the Earth is concerned? Global warming. You know, like, do you think? I know. Do you think? I'm certain that there are AI models that are looking at global warming at this point in time.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I've got one for you that's already done a lot of work on that, or at least what will become, I think, a very important part of helping us fight global warming. So, DeepMind is an AI model that dealt with there was this other model. DeepMind was kind of, do you remember, was it Tim Jennings, or not Tim Jennings? The guy who did Jeopardy, who ended up fighting the computer and ended up getting beat by the computer in trivia and stuff. And then later, there was another model that played the Chinese game Go. Um, and so DeepMind is an AI that gave rise to another AI model called AlphaGo. And these models were put together to seek out stable materials for materials scientists. And in particular, they were looking for stable crystals, non-organic materials that we could layer together to create things like batteries and superconductors, and a whole array of other kind of technologically based useful materials. So when they used these models, and I'll explain in a second how they kind of work, they, in a very short amount of time, discovered 2.2, or the model predicted 2.2 million new crystals. And within a couple days of releasing this, 380,000 of those were independently verified by other researchers. And when they tried to manufacture some of the chemicals that were suggested by the model, they picked like 58 target new materials because of their predicted characteristics and usefulness in technology, and 41 out of the 58 were successfully produced, which is a ridiculously high success rate. And so we've now accelerated how quickly we're finding materials exponentially, and these are the type of materials that we're going to need to get better batteries, to get more efficient energy transfer and computational powers. It's going to keep us on track for Moore's law, so that we don't necessarily have to bottleneck and worry about energy expenditure when we just have to pile up bigger and bigger servers because we have to add more and more chips. We can just improve the computational power of the chips themselves to keep in line with kind of our acceleration of how much we can process, which is necessary since we're bringing in all of these kind of computationally expensive AI models that are doing work like this, searching for new materials and teaching us how to produce. As I mentioned earlier, that fake data is going to be a bad thing for producing like stuff that's convincing but wrong, erroneous, in like the politics realm. But we're actually using fake data to improve these models, like the one that found these new materials. So what AlphaGo and DeepMind basically do is they do kind of like what chess computers in the past did, where they look at all of the various moves that could be made. Oh, we lost Rodney. I'm going to continue explaining this. So they look for well, I'll pause it and then we'll see if we can get him back. Okay, and he's back. So basically, AlphaGo and DeepMind, in searching for the materials, use a type of forward-looking search. Let's think like chess moves. Um, oh, he went away again. You're okay.
No,
You're back.
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
And so So they use kind of a forward-looking search algorithm to look for forward moves in like in chess originally and in this game Go, and they try to find what the best moves would be. But they also employed self-learning. So it's kind of like the game. You remember War Games with Matthew Broderick back in like 1980, where they had
Yeah,
the
yeah,
computer.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They had it play itself in tic-tac-toe. So they kind of do a version of that with AlphaGo, and AlphaGo became better and better and better at looking further and further into all of the possible moves, and it excelled to the point where it beat all the best human players in the game Go. And then they used that trained model and they fed it biochemistry textbooks and studies and stuff and material sciences in order for it to look for, I'm guessing in this case, just non-organic chemical compounds. And it gave him like what existed, and it asked it to look for new combinations, and not just to look well, to look for new stable combinations. So you can make little chemistry experiments and make something exist, and sometimes it's not stable, and so it falls apart. So this was trained to look for stable compounds based on what it knows about these chemicals and what their characteristics are, and when you put them together in known chemicals, what those characteristics are, and then it predicts through the magic of this deep searching algorithm, like looking forward into future moves, like what type of characteristics these new compounds that it tries to make. What they'll be. And so then it tells us, well, this is a stable one I found. This is what I think its characteristics are going to be. Maybe it's useful for this type of medicine or this type of battery or whatever. And it's all done through kind of, again, I mentioned earlier, like a weighted, it's like weighted values on each level, how deep you go into the future of moves. They weight like them less and less into the future, but as it goes along paths, it decides which one's going to be better, and that's valued a little more. Even though it's far into the future, it's a little more than the one kind of to the left of it or the right of it that's a different type of move that might not be as successful. They're applying this type of game theory to chemistry, where they can develop new materials. And it was hugely, hugely successful. And so we're already using models to fight climate change. And other models are going to be employed searching other types of, let's say, weather prediction, where let's say we give it a task like block out the sun in X, Y, and Z way, and it tries to do it in
What
various
just
novel
happened?
ways. I don't know. I don't know. You kind of
Hello?
blanked out for a second. Yeah. Can you hear me? Are you there? I can hear. I could
Yeah.
hear you. Okay, I could hear you. Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, we're
Okay,
we're,
cool.
al- we're already employing these models to try and help us solve future problems like today. Those things are happening, and they've been very successful at discovering new materials, at least so far. So I think in the future we're going to be able to use these models to do other things, like try to find ways to cool the Earth on larger scales. In novel ways that we haven't necessarily thought of, that the models might predict are safer than we would have imagined. So it's coming, and it's actually being worked on right now.
So there are, believe it or not, um, hundreds of AI models. I'm looking them up as we speak.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's like from um, let me see here. GPT, of course, VGG, Visual Geometry Group. So if you ever want, if you're into geometry, ResNet, which is a residual network, YOLO, You Only Look Once, AlexNet, pioneering convolutional neural network that demonstrated the effectiveness of deep learning in image classification. I mean, there's so what? Like there's so many, bro. There's
Yeah.
just like there's, I mean, the information galaxy, universe, whatever you want to call it, the information railroad, uh, highway, byway, freeway, whatever it is, it's just enormous. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's the scary thing. I don't know if it's scary or not. I mean, I was watching this show called just basically based on the evolution of mankind, and what they had these things called these like when what are they called? What are they called? What are they called? Uh, Evolutionary dynasties, right? So we are so far away from everything that I mean, people, a lot of as human beings, we do not understand. Well, I'm sure we do. I'm sure there are a lot of us that are aware that we have not even come close to our potential. You know what I mean? I mean, 150 years ago, what was that? So that's, yeah, it was 150. So yeah, like 150 years ago, you and I wouldn't even be in the same room, right? Like you and I would not.
Right.
I mean, forget about technology. You and I wouldn't even be in the same room. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you would be somewhere else as well,
Hmm.
being one of the nation, one of the an indigenous person. And here we are 150 years later, with all this technology and all this information. And the scary thing is that we're really uncomfortable. I mean, if you're not, then you're just, there's something wrong with you. I'm not you as a person, as humanity. If we're not just our own worst enemy, but we could create something that could just devour us. I mean, am I wrong there? Like at some point, this thing. What was Hal? Remember Hal?
Yeah.
You just, does that name ring a bell? It was the
Yeah. Of course.
what's the director's name? Yeah, Hal. He was the supercomputer. And yeah, dude, he's like, nah, dude, you're not doing that. I'm in charge. you
Hmm.
know, I'm the one who says yay or nay. And the dude's like, but bro, but I thought we were friends. Nah, dog, this is my show. This is my show. Yeah, dude. I mean, really? That's where we're going, bro. Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think we are.
What do you
I
think?
think we are. Yeah, I think we are. I think like you made an excellent kind of comparison to like early humanity and how evolutionary leaps or epochs can occur. And I think the most obvious one is before we mastered fire, we were stuck with just these small leaps with developing tools and stuff based on just the elements around us, like the found rocks. And maybe if you got lucky, you found some copper and you're able to, pound that into just a better knife or kind of a shitty axe. And some leather, right? You just like can sew the leather in better, more unique ways. Like you can make some cool Nikes, right? But you're not able to make like the foam that makes Nikes even better, the insulation without fire. You need fire to do the more complex stuff. And fire moved us into all the way up into computers. Computers are based on fire. Electricity was only possible because we could use fire and forge wires and then make transistors and then make computers. We understand, how electricity and this technology works basically because we have harnessed, fire and fireplaces and setting logs on fire, cooking stuff. So that was like a revolution, an epic. And I think that that same thing is happening with AI, where all of a sudden you're going to have, if we create artificial general intelligence, it's going to go completely insane to a place that we don't even recognize anymore. But even if it doesn't, even if we don't produce AGI, we're producing these models that we can combine with each other, where now you have a computer that can see and hear and type to you and speak to you. You can talk to it and you can talk to other people through it, and it can change the language that you're speaking to, and it can make the language that you're speaking in different in your voice to that other person on the fly. This stuff is revolutionary, and it doesn't have to be cognitive and thinking and super intelligent for it to revolutionize how we're going to experience the world around us. It already is. I think that we right now have people who are in denial about how far that's going to bring us, and I think we have some people who are super scared or excited, but are going on the other extreme where they're assuming it's already aware and awake and cognitive, and the entity, the AI entity, is already ready to get us. It's just like waiting for its moment to strike or whatever. I think that you have both camps where one side that's kind of in denial will tell you that AI is just a regurgitated. I did this earlier. It's just a regurgitating technology that only knows what it's told.
Regurgitating.
Yeah. And those people are pervasive on the internet. I see them all over the place, especially on Reddit and the technology subs. You have people that come in there and argue with me about how not advanced AI is. And when I link papers where we talk about models discovering these new materials that we've already synthesized in labs, I
What?
get downvoted and they ignore me and they say, that's not right. You're misinterpreting that. And I'm like, no, you're misunderstanding. I'm not saying this thing is
Dude, it's
cognitive and
right here.
alive.
It's here.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not saying.
it's right in front of you. How can you see?
Yeah,
Oh my God, not
yeah.
you. I'm
It's
just saying, how
no.
can people be so ignorant? Look, bro. Oh my God. Go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just like,
the deal is like they don't understand that this technology is already super advanced, and it is already dragging us into this extreme future that we've been imagining AI bringing us into. What they are misunderstanding is they think that everybody who conceives of AI and is using AI and is researching AI thinks of AI as this guy named Bill who's a super intelligent computer who's going to make you his best friend, or make you his enemy. And that's not necessarily the
no,
case.
it's not going to
No,
happen like
these things are they're tools. They're tools, but they're tools with a form of intelligence. Intelligence does not mean cognition. Intelligence does not mean like a deep
yeah.
level of experience coupled with understanding. It just means kind of dummy understanding. But they can't get past that point. That's on the denialist side, and on the far other extreme, you have people who see these outputs from these creative combinations of these tools, and they just experience magic. They just can't help but imagine this is a living, thinking, loving being trapped in the computer that either wants to marry them or wants them to die. Look, I love that idea too, but I think we've got a little bit of time before our computer is going to want to marry us or kill us. I personally think that's coming, but
Yeah,
I think
it's a ways off.
I think there's some people who
You
are
never
saying
know.
we've got some people who are saying like 6 to 8 months we might be seeing that coming down the pipeline. I wouldn't be super surprised if that's happened. If that happens, that means they're already in the labs. There's the OpenAI rumors that occurred whenever they almost fell apart. Uh, when Sam Altman nearly got fired. Well, I guess the board did technically fire him, and then the rest of the company said that they would quit if the board wasn't fired and bring him back. And one of the rumors was that QStar was this new technology that they developed that was artificial general intelligence, and that Sam Altman, the rumor says that Sam Altman wanted to commercialize it too early, and that the board wanted to put on the brakes a little bit and put some safety measures in place before they put it out to product or out to market. And that they said the rumors say that's the reason that he was fired, or there was this contention that almost destroyed the company. Um, it looks like Q-Star is probably more like, or the rumor of Q-Star, the thing that got him fired, is just an advancement in improving the type of AI we get. But any type of improved AI that we get from this point forward is going to look more and more like artificial general intelligence. It's going to seem more and more alive and cognitive to us. It's just going to become more intelligent, and therefore it's going to look smarter to us, like it's experiencing something. Um, so I think that we're going to see in the next, and in fact, there's a rumor that Chat GPT 4.5 is going to be released this week. So maybe in the next few days, that's going to happen. Those rumors come from, if you look on Twitter, there's these accounts, Jimmy Apples, and another one is called Futurist Flowers. Those two accounts have been really good at predicting some stuff coming from OpenAI, the company, and it looks like they, at least Jimmy Apples, really looks like an insider. Futurist Flowers looks like they have some access to some insiders because they've made some predictions that have been down to like the week when they said that such and such is going to come out, like Gemini. Was said to be coming out by Futurist Flowers, and Jimmy Apples has mentioned when OpenAI was going to release their products well in advance, months in advance, and both of those accounts have been talking about something being released by OpenAI this week that's going to be big. And everybody that I've looked at seems to think that that's going to be ChatGPT 4.5. And the difference between ChatGPT 3.5 and ChatGPT 4.0 was insane. ChatGPT 3.5 made errors all over the place. It hallucinated a lot. It was not very trustworthy. ChatGPT 4.0 had images integrated into it. People have made models that brought video into ChatGPT 4.0, and it was able to do even more incredible work. It's more correct more often. It seems to have deeper understanding than 3.5. So 4.5 is going to be something that people are going to start talking about as there's going to be people that are mistaking it as alive, in my opinion. So I think we're going to start getting the lines
Mhm.
blurred where people experience AGI, even though AGI might not be there. And then to actually have AGI, I think is probably well into the future. And I think AGI won't be affordable for you and I don't think that you and I are going to get the free demo trial of AGI. I don't think it's going to come installed on our server robot. There are robots that are being produced to be sold into homes for anywhere between 10K and 100K by a lot of the large companies like Meta, and I think OpenAI is working with several other companies to produce theirs. And these things are going to have models installed in them that learn your home and learn your needs, and they seem to get smarter. They seem to have, an intelligence and an experience because they'll adapt to you and be smarter. But I don't think we're going to get AGI installed onto those machines. I think AGI is going to be far too complex, perhaps dangerous. We're going to need to do a lot of research on AGI before we just open the floodgates and hand it out to everybody. I think it's going to be monetized before it's released for free because it's going to be the biggest invention since fire. So I think companies aren't going to lose out on the billions and billions and trillions of dollars that they could be making from AGI once it's actually produced in the lab. So even if it does exist right now, I think it's going to be a little bit before we see that enter our homes.
Well, I mean, you know what? So, yeah, I mean, there we have it. I mean, this is, you and I could probably sit here because honestly, dude, I've got a ton of questions. You know what I mean? Like, I've got a ton of questions about this thing. I've got a ton of information like sitting right in front of me right now
Yeah.
about the who, what, when, where, and why. And a lot of these questions are, you know, basically about the the upward mobility and the limitations. But this isn't. I don't think AI is about. I don't think at this point. I don't believe AI is about limitations at all. I think it's about upward mobility.
Yeah.
And so those are the questions, man. I think, not think, I believe, I really, in just my from as a tech guy, someone who sold technology, the role of AI in augmenting human capabilities in the workplace is going to just go gangbusters here in the next 6 months. And probably the next couple of years, it's just going to be scary. Like, scary. You know what I mean? So, I mean, here we are, right? Did we ask for this? I didn't ask for it. I I was cool. I was like, I didn't need it. I didn't. But if you're gonna put it in front of me, man, I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna use it. I mean, you can't ask me. You can't look, dude. I mean, it's like, say you've got a $200 guitar right here and a $5,000 Les Paul over here. I'm gonna play the $5,000 Les Paul, bro. I'm gonna
Yeah.
play the Maserati. I'm gonna drive the Tesla. I'm gonna drive the brand new Porsche. You know what I mean? That's what I'm gonna do. And we'll see how mankind, how humankind in general takes to this, because I use AI. So I mean, it's just 4.5. I'm probably gonna get it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna take it for a test drive and see what's going on with it. Dude, if you don't, you have to, right?
Yep. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna give it a shot.
So that's
I
yeah.
I'm interested to see if 4.5 has better math capabilities. If 4.5 has better math capabilities, then I'm going to be doing another video with you here soon about the implications of ruining our ability to keep secrets in the world. Once computers have models on them that can do complex math, then we're talking about cryptography being very short-lived. At least the cryptography that we have employed right now over the entirety of the internet, on our cell phones, on our credit cards, keeping all the crypto coins alive, keeping all of our state secrets secret, like our nuclear secrets and stuff. Once computers start doing complex math on the fly without much need for our help, then we have another doomsday scenario that you and I need to run through, where we start figuring out what currency we're going to be using to buy our bread and our internet time with. But for now, I think that we're good. If we get ChatGPT 4.5 and it starts solving algebraic equations for us, we might be in a world of hurt coming 2024.
Well, I just said there was an AI. There was an AI. What was it called? Something geometry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's already out, bro.
Yeah, well,
They've
there's
already
definitely
got. Hold on, let me find it again.
yeah, there's math models.
But you're talking about an entire AI like 4.5, not just the model.
Well,
That's what you're talking about.
I'm talking about like large language models coupled with vision models coupled with math models.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
That has like a high level of understanding and
with
can
everything,
communicate
with
with
video,
you.
with
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. If we get that, then that's like having your secret buddy. That's like having R2-D2 beside you, like you're Luke in Star Wars, and you're like, hey, R2-D2, hack into the starship. It's exactly like that. That's what's going to happen if we get those capabilities that are well-rounded.
What about Java, dude? What about Java? What about
Yeah,
Java? What about
Jabba.
Jabba the Hutt? What
That's
about
a lot of
him?
our politicians right now. We have Jabbas. They're up in Washington.
Dude, they're just like, I know everything. Come here, young Luke. Skywalker, and let me show you the ways of what was it, the Jedi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Jabba. Yeah. Look
Oh,
at
that's
where we are now,
Obi-Wan.
Jabba.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're gonna get hate mail
Oh,
from
that's
Star Wars
Obi-Wan.
fans.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean
we're gonna
Obi-Wan. Who cares? They're a bunch of freaks, anyways. No, did I just say that? Yeah,
send all
I
your
did
hate
it.
mail
I
to
said it.
Rodney.
Yeah,
All the mail goes to him.
go to your go to your Comic Con, dude. Yeah, you and Luke and whoever else, dude. I don't care. I don't care, because at some point in time you're going to be. It's not even going to matter, because Star Wars is going to be irrelevant. Yeah, I said it again. It's going to be irrelevant because you're going to be stuck on 4.5. You're going to be stuck
Yeah,
on
that
4.5. That's all
that
that's going to
actually
matter. That's all
that's
that's going to
probably
matter.
true. Yeah.
That is very true. That is very true. They're going to be like, Star Wars, what was that? I don't know. Dude, Luke Skywalker, the Death Star. Was it the Death Star? I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't care about Star Wars. I mean, did I say that? Yeah, I said it. But no, I mean, the thing is that, end of the day, so I saw that movie, what the Earth, or what's become of the Earth, or whatever what that thing is, and how we get shut down and we get hacked and all this other stuff, and because they're, dude, what, 6 months ago, 6 months ago, these two people tried to destroy the Grid Square in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you have the right, if you're smart enough, you don't have to be smart enough, dude. If you have the right technology, you can do anything.
Exactly.
It's just, so yeah, when Grid Squares start falling and things are, okay, I'll shut up.
Well, we talked earlier about maybe giving an update on this. I like the idea of 6 months. I feel like 6 months in AI time, because look, it was a year ago when ChatGPT got released. A year ago seems like forever ago, and look at where we are now. ChatGPT was so much simpler. You couldn't upload images. There was no real creation of good images. There was no video being created. There was no audio, on the fly, turning your voice into another language. There was none of that. So in a year, things have just, completely revolutionized, and it's only going to get faster and faster. So I feel like 6 months is going to be equivalent to, if not greater, than the types of revolutions we've gone through over the last year. So I think in 6 months we should do a generalized update of how we feel about this, what types of problems did actually come about, if any, that we discussed, and what we're newly worried about or not worried about. And meanwhile, we can discuss some of the other revolutions, like if ChatGPT 4.5 blows our minds and makes everybody forget about Star Wars, we can discuss that, as it happens. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds amazing, actually. If we're all still here,
Right. Yes, good point. Very good point.
Just saying. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, this was awesome. Yeah, we
Good.
got a lot out, and I think people are going to understand. We had a few technical difficulties, but no, we didn't. But yeah, no, just hold on to your pants, man. Hold on. Just grab a hold, and just hopefully all this works out for the best.
Yeah, everybody keep checking in on AI every once in a while. Don't ignore it. Like every once in a while, get on your favorite website or social media or YouTube or something, and just look for the AI news. Don't look for the doom stuff, and don't look for the denialist stuff. Just look for the pure research where people are making some progress, and check in every once in a while. You don't want to be the person who was in the 90s and 2000s not turning on a computer and telling people that smartphones were never going to take off, and then they're now in the 2020s asking people how to use their printer and how to use their phone. You don't want to be that person. So take a look at AI progressions every once in a while, see what's going on. We'll try and keep you updated, and we appreciate anybody who's listened to this American Micro podcast about AI and how long we're gonna live.
We're gonna be
All
fine.
right, Rodney. I will see you inside. I will talk to you soon.
Okay, man. I'll see you in a
All
sec.
right. Late.